the instructions has come out from the United States that there is to be a great intensification of attacks on China. This is being therefore run through the big presence of the US intelligence agencies in the media. The fact that, for example, in Britain, if you work for the BBC, you have to be vetted by the security services to make sure that you're reliable. And so, therefore, the number of attacks on China in the mainline media is increasing greatly. I mean, some of these are completely ridiculous. I mean, the American press is ridiculous because it's reporting all this stuff, this claim that the Wuhan epidemic was caused by an escape from a laboratory, which, I say, not one single major medical figure in the entire world has supported. Even those who are not friends of China, they just refuse to report it because they're not going to talk about things which are obviously lies. So the US media is in a state of complete frenzy against China, with the Democrats unfortunately playing a role in this. And the situation is not very much better, for example, in the British media. The one thing that I would say is, however, that some people who are not pro-China are against the Cold War. For example, the Guardian newspaper in Britain, which carries lots of anti-China articles with very negative views on Hong Kong, nevertheless had a very clear editorial saying that it didn't want a Cold War with China. Also, a very interesting thing is some Chinese people outside China, the diaspora, students and other groups, become much more active on social media. I don't want to say that this is not as powerful enough to offset the very negative propaganda which is being carried on in the Western media, and the censorship has increased greatly. For example, a few years ago, The Guardian, for example, rather regularly published my opinions on China. Now they completely refuse to publish such things. And I know from other people who are right objectively on China that the censorship in the mass media in the West on China has greatly increased. But it's very interesting to see there's quite a lot of people who are Chinese abroad, Chinese students, groups of that people who are becoming more active on social media. There was an example that was given in China. It was explained to me that Chinese people were attempting to go over the wall, as they put it, in order to connect with people in the West. And I would say this is very worthwhile activity at the present time. It's not enough to offset the situation in the West. But we've also got to be clear, this is the situation in the United States is exceptional, and the situation in Britain is very, very bad. In other large parts of the world, in developing countries, on the contrary, the mood is becoming more pro-China. So there's a sharply differentiated situation. But it's the situation of the media is just like complete censorship at the present time.